Hey, hello. Thanks for taking 5 with me, Wolfcore, like a few minutes riffing on IT and IT security. So, I've mentioned in the past I like sleep on my phone. And I'll wake up and I'm already be on Twitter. I don't know how that works, but it does. A few nights ago, 2, 3 in the morning, I wake up. I'm on Twitter. And there's a friend of mine. He's tweeting. He's like, hey, I'm awake. I can't sleep. He tweeted about an hour before me. He's like, hey, it's 1 o'clock where I'm at. I can't get to sleep, so I'm watching Wolf's videos with my daughter. That was an interesting way to fall asleep. He also mentions that she had questions. So I reached out, and this video is answering Kaelan Sempf's questions. So Kaelan Sempf, Bill Sempf's daughter, sent in questions, and I shall now answer them for you and the rest of everybody else. So Kaelan, thanks for watching these with your dad. Question 1, how is IT different than security? Great question, because I start these videos saying a few minutes riffing about IT and IT security. So what's the difference? How are they the same? How are they different? I think if you're building something, you care about security in a way, right? If you're building a fort, you don't want people to knock over the fort. You spend some extra time, have your blankets, better pillows, chairs around it, whatever it may be. You spend some time. If you're building with Legos and you drop it and it breaks, you're like, I don't want that to happen again. Next time I'm going to add more pieces, make sure they're pushed together and everything else. Similarly, when we're in IT and we're building stuff, right, setting up servers and that sort of thing, writing code, there are steps that we take to make sure that it's secure, that it won't break if someone messes with it. And therefore, for the longest time, to me, good security was good IT. Good security was good software code. However, back to the fort, what if you don't want anyone to mess with it? Back to the toy, what if you're like, hey, Wolf, can you stand by my toy? I look mean. And if anyone comes in, stop them. Suddenly, well, the toy still exists, and it's still the same tactics. You've got a dedicated security person. And as I've grown into an old man, I've watched as we've created an entire industry of people who just do the security part, protecting on the IT. So they're very similar, but there's a different focus. Next question is, why do you need a security team? Many companies don't. I was recently involved with a project where we talked to a whole bunch of companies with up to like 500 employees. And we're like, hey, do you have a full team? And they're like, well, we have people who care about it, but we don't have a dedicated team. However, as you get bigger, you want to have that dedicated team of people to watch for it, because if I'm sitting there protecting the stuff, eventually I'm going to need a break. So you need at least some folks so you can have some time off and share some responsibilities. And as you start getting deeper into security, it's more than just watching for things. It's thinking about things and designing things and talking to people. And so pretty soon you have the need for a pretty big team. So if you're ever running a big company, hire a big, cool security team. Next question. Not a question, Kaelan, but the question is, she likes my beard. Thank you. The cool thing about technology is that it's allowed a lot of us to really be ourselves, right? And I am a kind of a dorky guy with a beard. That's my thing. With sports coat sometimes. There are people out who have mohawks. There are people who wear tiaras. There are people who have, sparkly dresses, and there are people who have, hacker t-shirts. As a matter of fact, I'll share a video with your dad about a bunch of cool hackers. The point is, it's important to be yourself, and what's cool about technology is oftentimes it allows us to be a little bit different, even if we're a little bit different like other people with beards. Next question. How does he know all this? Because I'm old. I've been playing with technology since I was your age. I've seen a lot of things change. I read a lot. I play a lot. I talk to people a lot. I say what's working, what's not. And that's how I know what I know. But what's also important is I only know a little tiny bit. There's people like your father who know a lot about things I don't know about. So one of the cool things is, again, about the tech community, is knowing people who know things. So when you don't, you're like, hey, let's all come together. Let's all hang out. Let's build stuff. Let's test stuff. Let's break stuff. And let's play. So it's important to know what you know. But it's also important to be able to play with others. Last question. How do you get the skills? by being curious, by looking at how things actually work, by understanding the hacker mindset is not only about a specific thing you're building or a specific thing you're breaking, but it's a way of thinking about problems. How does the world really work? And what happens when we do things differently than when other people do them? What happens when we put things together in new and unique ways? What happens when we take things apart that probably weren't supposed to be taken apart? The hacker mindset is one of curiosity and of trying things that oftentimes don't work again and again and again until they do work. This past weekend, I was working on getting some piece of software to work with another piece of software, and it should have been easy, and I kept doing it wrong and doing it wrong and doing it wrong and doing it wrong and doing it wrong, and I wanted to pull out this beard. And when I finally got it done, I'm like, yay! And I was so excited. And that is ultimately what makes us fun. And that's why I have the skills I have. So those are the answers to a 9-year-old's question. And the tip for you is this: if you can't sleep, apparently my videos do the trick. Cheers.